So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. We just decided we'd do a live one because Paddy's back, and what better way to celebrate than with a podcast with Paddy. Paddy, how are you getting on?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm flying it, living the dream, Paddy. Jesus, living the dream here. Being able to sit down and do a podcast, your feet. I got a lovely new pair of slippers, getting to that age, getting to the grand old age of 36, Paddy. Things aren't... yeah. It's a slippers pipe. Yeah, I just have to train the dog now to bring me my slippers whenever I'm feeling a small bit leisurely. No, that's the next job. But plenty of time for that. So nothing really happened, Paddy, while you were gone.
No, nothing of note anyway that I can remember.
Nothing I can think of. There was no outgoings, no major outgoings or anything like that since you were gone. The joke.
Signed some great players. I don't remember anyone leaving or anything. Definitely made a couple of great signings while I was away.
Yeah, we did actually. And let's just do a quick. Like we've seldom spoke about it while you were gone. I'd leave you enjoy your well-deserved time away. But yeah, we've a couple of players in the door. Paddy, Danny Ings, Leon Bailey in the door. Talk to me about those.
First of all, happy birthday, Leon Bailey.
Happy birthday to the Kingston Flyer. I don't know why I nicknamed him the Kingston Flyer today, but
you like to put names on people, so
we mightn't have the Bandon Beckham for much longer, so the Kingston Flyer will have to replace him.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, it's two positive signings. Obviously, put that together with Emi Buendia, and we've a whole new strike force to play alongside Ollie Watkins. So it'll be an interesting few weeks. Hopefully they're all up to speed. Obviously we're not going to see Leon Bailey for at least 3 weeks between quarantine and getting himself up to speed. So I would imagine possibly the Brentford game is the first time we'll see him involved. Danny Ings played yesterday, looked very sharp. Scored a goal and possibly could have been put through by Watkins at a later stage for what would have been a tap in. But look sharp, look match fit. That was the most important thing because obviously Ebi Buendia is nursing a knock. Ollie Watkins is nursing a knock after the weekend. So purely precautionary, I hope.
I think the news on Watkins is very good. I think it was just a case of get him off. We're too close to start the season.
Yeah. Sure, look, barring what happened in the middle of last week, all is positive. So,
and Paddy, you're itching. You're absolutely itching to talk about him.
I don't know whether I'm itching or not. No, I'm still a bit hurt and a little bit scarred from the whole thing. Look,
give us your soliloquy on it.
We'll get it over with. Look, it wasn't a big shock. I think we more hoped than expected he would stay. He's gone now. We'll have to plan without him. First and foremost, every experience I've had at Jack is that he was a wonderful, wonderful guy. I've been following Jack since I first spotted him playing under 17 for Ireland all those years ago. I think he was still only maybe just about to turn 16 at the time. I've met him a few times since. I even went down to Notts County to watch him when he was on loan when a Villa match was moved to a Sunday. So I had nothing to do on the Saturdays. I went to Notts County to watch Jack. So I followed his career with great fondness. And those who have listened to me on the last full podcast we have, I was kind of hoping that he would stay. But look, he's gone now. The dream is over. And for me, that's the worst part of it. I believed we probably would have signed these 3 players even if he was staying. No matter how much the board wanted to sugarcoat it, I think they were needed. But our leader, our talisman, is gone. And do you know what? for me, Man City now is the new Man United. I think I even hate them more than Man United. It just really broke my heart, this one. It really did. And just the whole manner of it. Like I've said, he's a great guy. I'm not rowing back. I've met his father a few times. His father is an absolute diamond of a guy,
Yeah,
Kevin.
gentleman.
Got Stephen in the early days to into the box after the game and met Jack. He needing to bother his arse, came down and met him outside the Trinity Road stand and brought him in. But look, I thought the speech at the end was a bit tinny for me. There wasn't enough in it. It might sound stupid, but it annoyed me that he unfollowed the club on social media. I thought that was a bit silly.
It's stupid.
Look, I put it solely down to, his head was torn by England first and foremost, and the agent is never going to step back from 100 million possibility of a transfer, and he's never going to let him escape that. So I think it's time to draw a line under it. And look, I wish him the best, but I don't wish anything for Manchester City. I'd rather England win the World Cup now than Manchester City win anything. That's just the way I feel. I'm just absolutely sick of Manchester City and all the players that took off us since suddenly they become a dominating force in the financial world of football. And to compete now, we probably needed to keep Jack. We didn't keep him. So now it's all about replacing and spending that money wisely.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to come to full fruition in this transfer window. So we'll need to be lining up players for January and next weekend. So or next summer. But I'm a little bit flat. Not gonna lie. I was really, really pissed off after him leaving. But we've got to move on. My season tickets arrived in the post when I come back from holidays. So looking forward to the new season. It's still tinged with a bit of sadness of what might have been, but there's plenty to look forward to. There's plenty of new players in there. There might even be a couple more. So obviously I've left out Tuanzebe, who joined over the weekend because we were talking about players that came last week. Happy to see him in there. Disappointed not to see him get a run out yesterday, but I'm sure there's probably a logical explanation for that. And Mings needed 90 minutes. So
I'd say he was dead. I'd say he didn't have an ounce of energy left after doing his medical. I'd say he was up on top of that treadmill for an hour beforehand to make sure everything was okay, and he didn't have anything left in the tank. But I'd say, Tuanzebe actually is a great call because he is, and I'm moving swiftly along, and I'm gently pushing you away from Jack Grealish.
And I've drawn a line in there. I've just seen there's a couple of comments there. I haven't had a chance to have my little rant, and I had already decided I was going to go 2-footed in on this, but seeing as we're live, I'm going in on a 50-50 tackle.
Exactly. Well, look, I'm going to put up Josh. Josh cannot wait for this season. Josh Norris. Josh is actually going to pop out and join us later on in the week for a preview of the coming season, along with one or two other guests that we're going to have. So great to see you, Josh, and great thanks a million for checking in. And I'm like you, I cannot wait to join the season, and I cannot wait for the season to start. And one of the reasons is because of the recruitment we've done. Without plugging future shows and a current show, but I sat down today, and there's a guy I've been talking to quite regularly, and I've been watching and listening and kind of stalking. Okay, I'm just going to say it. There's a guy I've been stalking on Twitter. Okay, and his name is Josh Williams, and I had a chat with him today, and it's a pre-recorded podcast I did with him today, and man, it's just I found him an enthralling listen. You guys might have heard him on the Claret and Blue podcast before, and it's complete kind of change of pace from normal interview I would do. I think I didn't talk that much on it. Well, by my standards anyway. But he just a different way of thinking about how you reinvest the money, what the ethos of a club should be, and he did a great description of how Liverpool actually reinvested their money from Coutinho, and I was just enthralled by how they did it, and maybe anything we could learn ourselves from what they did and what his thoughts were. Going to be coming out soon. It's most likely only going to be on an audio podcast. So if you're not If you're not watching, if you're not following us on Apple Podcast or Spotify, that one will be out over the coming days. But really enjoyed that interview, and that's going to be popping up over the next couple of days. But Tuanzebe, getting back to Tuanzebe there, somebody who knows the club. He's come in recently, and he knows Dean Smith. Dean Smith knows him. He's played in the back four with Mings before. He's played in the back four with Target before, I think. No, he actually hasn't. He's played in the back four with Mings anyway before, but he's going to be somebody that can, I think we're going to see in a multitude of positions. I think we might see him in a back three, because I think we will play a back three at times this season. I think we might even see him step up into a defensive midfielder very sparingly, may I add, this year, if it is the case. But definitely somebody that we don't want to overlook, because he's somebody that the fans and us, and at times, we've heard a lot of people cry out and say, look, he'd just be a perfect signing. And while it's only on loan and it seems to be a very inflated loan fee, it's still a positive signing, I think, for the club.
And it was a signing that we needed after England moving on. So look, we probably would have spent a lot more than 5 million to replace Engels. So if we have him for this year for 5 million, we can plan towards next season, and I'm okay with that. Plus, he was a bloody good player when we had him, so happy to see him back.
Absolutely. Wayne has mentioned here as well, my guy was linked again today. The stop clock is even right twice a day. Check the Kure, one of my... just a pet project, a pet guy that I just happened to see play for Arsenal, literally in one game, and I went, oh God, he's very good. And then just looked him up statistically. He was on my wish list at the start of the season, at the start of the off season. Himself from Viktor Chankov. Bet you hadn't heard his name in quite a while. Sure, you hadn't, especially since we're knocked out of the Euros. But check Corey. Check him out on YouTube. The guy's raw. Yeah, he's raw. He's 21, but he just intercepts and he tackles absolutely everything, and he can carry the ball out of trouble, which is good. He has inflated numbers even on Marvelous Nakamba based on what he's done this year. I'm going to have a podcast coming out on him with, hopefully I'm going to sit down with Vin Analytics to actually chat about him, because he was somebody that we had spoken about previously as well. When I was chatting about him quite a lot, Stephen was also interested in him too, so we might sit down and chat about him as well at a future date. But yeah, hopefully something comes of that, and it's not just a spurious link now that we're Mr. Moneybags within the European system. But we are here tonight to talk about a couple of other things. And now that we've got that Jack Grealish piece out of the way, and I suppose what we'll talk about is that Italian team I cannot pronounce. And let's do the match review. Salernitana,
yeah.
I'm usually pretty good with pronunciations and things like that, but for some reason it just catches in the roof of my tongue every time I try, the roof of my mouth every time I try and say it. But a small club on the outskirts of Napoli, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what Mark Egan said yesterday. Famous for a 3-game loan stint by Walter Zenga back in the 70s.
Yeah. You're a little bit too young, Neil, but I actually remember them the last time they were in the Premier Division. It was 23 years ago.
Was it 23 years ago?
Apparently so, yeah.
Maybe I must have signed somebody from around Football Manager. I thought it was pretty closer than that. I thought they were here. They were there a lot more recent than that. But they're owned by Andrea Radrizzani as well. I didn't know that, the Leeds chairman. So.
I think above all else, this was a very important game for us, because we had the game cancelled on Saturday, which threatened to derail the fact that with players there that needed 90 minutes under their belt before they go into battle next week against Watford. Now, I know they'd played some behind closed doors friendlies during last week. I don't know who played or how long they played for, but it's important to get out there on the Villa Park pitch and play a full 90 minutes. It's a pity the fans couldn't be there, but at that short notice, they couldn't get the stewards and policing together. So we just had to make do with Villa TV, which again was superb. It was enjoyable to listen to. I think Mark Regan, he's found his calling. Stay there, Mark, and look after our villains. I used to look forward to Mark on BBC on a Friday evening, listening to his phone in. or messaging in, I suppose, is what we used to do. But as soon as he's gone from BBC, why not snap him up? He's one of our own. But it was good. It was a good run out. Some players, Sean, Philogene Paddys, I thought had a reasonably good game, apart from one probably silly challenge which led to their goal, where he attempted to tackle for the ball which he had no right to get, and they scored from the resulting free kick. But I thought other than that, I thought he was really at the races. It was great to see him really get stuck in. Had a good chance as well early on in the game. But as I said, we went behind after 19 minutes. We got back into the game fairly quick through Danny Ings, which was a well-worked goal with McGinn and 3 left foots. McGinn to Jaden Philogene Paddys, back to Danny Ings, the left foot into the back of the net. So well-worked goal. Great to see him getting on the score sheet. Looked really, really promising, buzzing around that box, getting up tight to Ollie Watkins. It was a good watch. It was good to see the movement there. And I'm looking forward to seeing him next Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. The one thing I think from this preseason that has me a small bit befuddled and a small bit not concerned. Concerned isn't the word that I'm using. I suppose hopeful or excited or intrigued, I think is probably the word I'm looking for, is how the hell we're going to line up now. How are we going to line up? What's going to be our formation? I've said from a decent bit out that it was going to be more of a flatter 3 in the middle, and that we were going to play essentially a 4-5-1, 4-3-3, whatever way you want to call it, or 4-1-4 or a 4-4-1-1. Even I think that might be something we might see, and I think Watkins might drop a small bit deeper with Danny over the top. Just based on, or sorry, Danny Ings would drop deeper with Watkins over the top, just based on what Glenn from the Total Sense podcast said about Danny Ings on a video we dropped this morning as well. But it's going to be really interesting. I think for me, there's been a lot of young players that have put their hands up and have said, you know what, I could be in and around this team. And obviously, Carney Chukwuemeka, I thought Carney Chukwuemeka almost looked too relaxed playing at that level. Like literally, he looked like a guy to me you could send out to Serie A and he could be young player of the year in Serie A. He swaned around the field there. He just has it. Like he just has it.
Excellent. Yeah. As you say, a little bit too pedestrian for my liking. It looks like you could put a bomb under him to move him a bit quicker at times. But the king is dead. Long live the new king. The opportunity is there for him to push on. And you mentioned that you're really interested. I am a little bit concerned about the start of the season. I think it's been a little bit fractured what's gone on in the last couple of weeks. We lost that Nottingham Forest game, never went ahead. We
did get 2 behind closed. Well, I don't know if I would say this, but if I can start it, no, we got two behind closed doors games against Fulham and QPR, though, didn't we? So, we can not confirm or deny that those games happened.
Yeah. Well, it's completely different to playing one focused game that you're probably putting out your best side to play maybe 60 minutes. And then with the transfers that have come, and obviously we're not going to have Bailey or possibly not Buendia to start the season. So there will be players there who will have to step up. Probably Carney or Jaden Philogene Paddys will have to step up. So it will be interesting, but I'm a little bit worried about how we're going to start off this campaign. I think this is going to be a tough old contest against Watford. I think they'll really put it up to us. So we'll need to be at the top of our game, and I just worried about the preparation from my point of view.
The plus points that I have for this off season is we've tried things. I think we know deep down our heart and soul what we're going to do. I think this club is trying to do. I think there will be a reaction in preseason. I think there has been a reaction in preseason that, like when you look back at teams like Sheffield United, they were cock of the walk one year, and then they came out the next year and just played exactly the same way, and they got relegated at a canter.
Yeah.
I don't think that was ever in danger of happening to us. But I think the brain trust, and I think Dean Smith and the coaches, I think that they are smart enough to know that that adaptation is going to be the aim of the game, especially without Jack Grealish. We just won't be able to play the same way we played last season, in the main. And I pointed out before, against Bristol City, we played 4 different formations in the first 45 minutes. I want to go back actually and I kind of wanted to watch just the Salernitana, whatever they're called, the Italian teams game again. And I just watched it for what it was. And to be honest with you, I thought Ashley Young was absolutely outstanding. I thought he was just really, really good. And it made me think that with the positional and the tactical adaptability that we're tending to see in the preseason games, and yes, it may look like a bit of a mismatch at times, and there was at times Carney Chukwuemeka was playing up front, with Bertrand Traore there in that game. But I think that Ashley Young is going to embody what this team is going to be over the course of the start of the season, and we will have a preview. But it's just his versatility. Like, I could see him playing second striker sometimes this season, and I could also see him play left back. I just think that we're going to we have a squad now of enough people who can roll up their sleeves and can get things done. And if Dean Smith wants to play a 3 at the back, I think we'll be in a position to do so. I think if Dean Smith wants to play 4-4-2, I think we'll be in a position to do so, although I don't think he will ever play that formation regularly. But I think the days of predictable, get the ball as fast as you can out to the left wing and see what happens are gone. And I think we'll be the better for it. I think we'll have to be the better for it.
That depends on what Leon Braley brings to the team. We've no way to know what way he's going to set up this team, because we haven't seen them all together, and that's going to take a few weeks. Important to note that Bertrand Traore hasn't been fully involved in the preseason training either, so he's not at full tilt heading into the start of the season, and that's what made me to say that we will see Philogene Paddys or Carney in there.
Yeah.
Need to start off with.
I think so too. But all in all, it was a great run out, especially for a team who literally only found out they were playing 24 hours beforehand. Villa couldn't have I think the one negative from that game, the one negative for me, I think Watkins is fine. The one negative for that game was their goal was a familiar looking goal that we conceded again. Deep ball to the back post, headed across, let the man at the back post, headed across, and then there was a guy in there to tap it in. A familiar goal, and hopefully that was a bug in the system and not a feature of the system again, because you'd like to think that that's been eradicated. And now that we have a new set pieces coach, and like, we didn't even talk about him. I can't even remember his name now. It's after escaping my head. Alex
McPhee, is it?
McPhee. All that was going through my mind was Alex Pritchard.
McPhee.
Yeah, Nanny McPhee, exactly. Yeah, the guy that he started a few scraps in the sideline in his time.
Yeah, look, he's got his work cut out now, because the fingers will no longer be pointed at the players, because he's there specifically to sort that out. So it'll be interesting to see how we get going. Absolutely.
Couple of chats. Let's take a little break there. Let's do a few chats there. We have Fred Red. We overcrowded with right wingers. We only have Admiral Ghazi, who is a true left winger. I don't think that's the case. I think that we have Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey has played enough on the left wing also. Ashley Young has played there too. Yeah, absolutely. I think
we'll be okay there. Yeah.
I think we will, and Jaden Philogene Paddys has played there as well. I've seen nothing to believe that Jaden Philogene Paddys won't get 500 minutes in the Premier League this season, which would be good for them. But I think it just goes to it goes to, I suppose, back to the point that we made of what formation are we going to play. We may not be overcrowded at any position regarding what formation we're going to play, but interesting one for you. We get onto that one in a moment. Dara says none of this would happen if Grealish had stayed with Ireland. We'll flash that one up and take it off again. There's a lot of there's a lot of memes like that going around. But
that might have been brought up if we'd have gone full 2-footed in on Grealish earlier.
Yeah, maybe so. Welsh Woody says, any idea when Bailey arrives? And I think all we could do is really deduce by the fact here that he's going to have to quarantine, that we're not going to see him. He's not going to be in the squad for the first game of the season. Like,
to the best of my knowledge, he's already arrived.
Yeah.
He has 14 days quarantine, and then he will need some proper integration into the team and some proper team training, I would imagine. And we're looking at possibly the Brentford game for him to start.
I would say so.
Should he be fit enough? Yeah.
I would say so too. I'd say so. I think that's fair enough. Luke Jones. I wouldn't be surprised to see Douglas Luiz, El Ghazi, Wesley also by the end of the window. I would.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 of those names sold by the end of the window.
I'd be surprised if any of those were sold.
Well, I think Wesley might go out on loan.
Yeah.
I think El Ghazi could be sold, but Douglas Luiz isn't going anywhere.
I think El Ghazi's here this year. I don't, unless there's some other Damsgaard or Alan Maxim or someone like that coming in. I just can't see. Like, you get rid of El Ghazi, you've got no holdover from last year in the wing positions. And look, he got 10 goals for us too. I know you might say sell him when his stock is high, but I just think it's a bit late now to be selling him. But then again, look, the transfer window is mad, so anything could happen. But I certainly don't see Douglas Luiz going anywhere. Absolutely anywhere.
Definitely not.
I don't see him going anywhere for sure. Dara says, any feeling of regret not getting Abraham? I think Ings will get 18 plus goals. Well, Jesus, if Ings get 18 plus goals, regret and Abraham won't be in the same sentence, I don't think. But, yeah. But no, I think Tammy Abraham might rock up at another Premier League team, though. The Glenn from the Total Sense podcast was pretty on board with Southampton bringing him in on loan, and I think he'd be a fine signing for anyone. He's a different type of player than Danny Ings. I wouldn't have minded him at Villa. I would have thought there would have had to be a bigger overhaul of the new system that we play since we've gotten out of the Championship for Tammy Abraham. But look, I wish him well in wherever he goes. And he scored 26 goals for us that season, and he'll always be welcome back in Villa Park, in my view, if he ever wants to come back. But just didn't so happen to be this year.
I think we signed a different type of player too in Danny Ings, so he'll offer us a lot more than Tammy will.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you think is next captain, Paddy?
Simple for me.
Tyrone
Ings. Yeah. You could see it again yesterday. He's above all else a genuine leader on the pitch. He's the one voice you can hear above everything else. Even when the ball is nowhere near him, his big booming voice you can hear at the end of the pitch. Yeah. You can hear exactly what he's saying with no fans in the stadium. It'll be Tyrone Mings, and I would imagine with seniority, it'd probably be McGinn as vice captain. One thing that came into my head today is that we've nobody left from the team that got relegated now.
Jack Grealish hasn't scored a goal in the thing that I said to John yesterday. Jack Grealish hasn't scored a goal to win his team 3 points in 584 days or something like that. There's always positives, guys. Remember, there's always a silver lining in that rain cloud. But that's an amazing statistic. But then again, how many does he set up? Anyway, we're gone. We're not. I apologize. We're going to have a swear jar or something here, a Grealish jar. Every time we talk about him, it's a $5 into the jar, so that we'd have some kitty for charity then at the end of the season. Then, I saw. Oh no, I'm going back up to the very. I've gone down to the very bottom of my list of questions. I'm just going to say it. Ezio, no, he wasn't publicly, but he did since go on to make an absolute massive move to another club in Europe. But no, he didn't. And this is why we've taken the route of not breaking news, just talking about it, because you could end up with egg in your face. And this was just one that came out of nowhere, So, but anyway,
I'll tell the story. I won't say who it was, but it was because I spoke to an agent regarding a different matter completely, and that agent confirmed to me that we had expressed an opinion in that player, and that's why we nearly said it on the podcast. And I'm glad we didn't, and I won't ever say it. But it was apparently someone that we had spoke to very early on in the window, just before the Euros. So that's I'd say it was after the end of the season we mentioned it, but. It
was in our post season, I think it was something like that. David Miller says here, different from Ryan, give us technical variability that we need. We should be more difficult to read, is a more difficult side to read. 100%. Like last year, how many games did we go into when Jack Grealish wasn't here and people were going, "Oh, are they a one-man team? Are they a one-man team?" Well, like we can't be a one-man team, you know. Yeah, well, we did kind of like, and we can't be, no. So the only way to make sure that isn't the case is tactical variability. You know, I like it. Leon Bailey hasn't got a number. Hasn't got a number yet. Luke Jones says, interesting. He didn't. Interesting. I didn't catch that one. I didn't catch that.
Could be holding off for that. Yeah, I never thought of that. There was no mention of a number. Maybe it's just as simple as they haven't had much of a chance to discuss with him.
They want to have him hold a shirt with the number on it, probably.
When it comes around, yeah. Missing out on dollars for people to get the name on the shirt, but look. It is what it is.
Recoup the dollars that they're going to have to drop to get the Grealish name changed. But damn, that's another $5 for me. Sorry.
Maybe we'll see him hold the new third jersey with his number in the back.
Maybe so, or maybe he's on the way to Man City for 120 million. Leon Bailey already. Maybe that's what's happening. I'm just sorry there, guys. Matt Hayes in the house. Matt Hayes from the Tottenham blog. Thank you very much, Matt Hayes.
Evening, Matt.
The gentleman, thank you very much.
We didn't give out scores, did we?
No. All our ire is directed at the blue half of Manchester from now on. Adam Nicholson. Adam, you're dead right. Still think we massively need essential. Sorry, I thought it was a defensive central midfielder. Or you're saying essential attacking midfielder. If Emmy or Bailey got injured, I think we would struggle massively to create. Favre or Kamada would be my ideal. I don't think we're going to get one. Whether we need one or whether we'd like, I think we'd all like one. I think I'd love to get a Damsgaard. So get somebody in there. You know, I'm a big fan of Damsgaard, but I don't think we're going to get one in there this season. I think.
I think we're putting a bit of trust in Carney at this stage. So he'll have to be part of it. So. He's not going anywhere on loan. He's going to be part of the squad.
Yeah.
So it'll be. I think it will be as is on the top half of the pitch. I think if we're going to see anything at this stage, it'll be a defensive midfielder or an additional goalkeeper if they choose to do so.
Top Cake says, nice interview with Fabrizio. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, he's a lovely gentleman, and I just really appreciate his time. You know, it was great, and. I blagged my way in there. But fair play to him. He's a mine of information, and caught him on probably the busiest day with Grealish signing for Man City the night before and Messi announcing that he wasn't going back to Barcelona. I don't think I could have caught a football journalist on a busier day ever in the history of football transfers. So it was just one of those perfect storms. So thank you very much though for listening and for watching that. We need another Savo Milosevic. Well, I'll wear a bandana every day of the week if that's what you're missing. Savo Milosevic. We were only saying, Paddy, was it you that was saying it too? That he didn't score that many goals, but when you score goals in cup finals against Leeds, that lives on forever, you know. That's how it happens.
Also with the central attacking midfielder, you're forgetting, and it's easy to forget that Morgan Sanson is still there as well. So we're going to see him in some shape or form in that position. Aaron Ramsey's about the squad. There you go. Mm-hmm. And so is his little brother. It's looking to break into it as well. So
Jacob Ramsey and Aaron Ramsey. I think Jacob will be deployed further back though. And that's what makes me believe. I don't think that we will play particularly with an essential attacking midfielder. I think we'll have a flatter midfield three, and I think it'll make us harder to break down as well. Because I think we'll have a rotating three up top. Regardless of who we play, whether it's Buendia, whether Buendia plays in the right wing, I think Buendia could potentially play as an 8 as well. Look, I just think the options are there, and I think we'll be quietly surprised by what we have in there. So what else do we have to chat about? We had it's Paddy's segment where he's going to give us a little rundown on the loan players. We've got quite a few guys out on loan at the moment, and Paddy's going to chat about some of the loan players and the loan player roundup that's going on.
Yeah,
tell us who played.
Of note, we had Seb Revan playing for Grimsby and set up a goal in a 1-0 win over Boston, which was a strange one to read, that he set up a goal, considering his defensive duties he's normally involved in. Another fellow who was fairly defensive, Kane Kessler-Hayden, helped create a goal in a 3-1 win for Swindon over Scunthorpe. He was fouled for a penalty in that game. Louis
That's
Barry,
interesting. Getting into the box, Paddy, interesting, because that's something we felt he could always do. You know?
Louis Barry, unused sub in Ipswich, 2-2 draw at Morecambe. I hope that doesn't reflect on what's going to be an annoying season for him. I hope he gets on.
I think he only signed on Friday or something. Or Thursday.
Probably a bit too late. Yeah. And then I suppose the performance of the week from our loanees came for Inter Miami.
Yes.
When Indiana Vasilev came on and scored a 95th minute header to win the game 2-1.
It's like in fairness, he is their marquee striker. Don't mind Gonzalo Higuain. Indiana Vasilev is the reason the bums are on seats in the Inter Miami Stadium. But fair play to him. Like that's some education in itself. Whether he comes back to Villa or not, you know, whatever happens, that's some education to get. Playing alongside Gonzalo Higuain.
Yeah.
Maybe they might send Higuain back to us on loan by mistake. That would be a nice. Although he did say, like, apparently he's. I don't know. Did I read somewhere where like he smokes 40 fags a day? Like he's supposed to be so. I don't. Is it him? I think it might be him. But he said he went to the MLS and he expected it to be a walk in the park, and I think it was him. I can't remember who. I'm almost certain it was him. And he said, "I think I have to give him up because you know I'm getting into the twilight of my career now, and I can't continue smoking cigarettes." You know, so. I don't know. Just in case his lawyers are watching, I think I'm right. I'm not quite sure. I retracted if I'm incorrect. If that wasn't Gonzalo Higuain, so no beef here with me. I think he's a great player. But yeah, nice little player roundup there. It's good to see our players in the goals, creating goals, and I'm just surprised that you didn't have anybody at the name escapes me. Akash Anodi's the club he's with. Oh gosh. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Good, because it's not on mine.
I don't know. Send me the part-time club. Anybody in the chat there want to remind us what club Akash Anodi has gone to? It's like about 10 minutes down the road from Birmingham, and I can't remember it. It's all that's going through my head is.
Is it Stevenage?
No. It's like a Istamin League team or something along those lines.
It's where Stevenage are, no?
Can't remember, but it's no, there is somebody did go to Newport as well. Paddy, you're slacking.
Someone in the chat there saying it's Newport.
No, it's not. It's Bromsgrove Sporting. Bromsgrove Sporting. That's who it is. Yeah.
We'll have to get on to the guys in the Bromsgrove Lions to give us an update on that one, because
absolutely
that kind of information is not easy to come by.
I can imagine that. No, I can imagine that. But best luck to him anyway there. And I think that there is something. I think he performed pretty well against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and send him out to a team like that where he's going to probably have a lot of balls up in the air, a lot of crosses, a lot of dodgy defending in front of him potentially. And this is me probably denigrating a fantastic Bromsgrove Sporting team, but I would imagine based in comparison to actual league football, he might see a bit more action and goals, and maybe it might be something that might bring him on. Interesting one, very interesting one. As we know, Millie Ednek and the club actually handpicked teams for players to go out and loan to, so it's interesting. It's interesting. Yes, Welsh Brummy, you're right. The lad, they came from the Baggies. Azaz, I think his name is Finn Azaz or Finn Aziz. I think he went directly out to Newport as well. Yeah, interesting one. We'll never know if he played at the weekend. There's no way of us knowing because he wasn't in Paddy's loan player roundup. It's going to be a mystery.
There you
forever.
go. We'll have to keep a closer rein on these guys now.
Exactly. We've also got another small bit of news. We have, for the Love of Paul McGrath Fantasy Football League set up, if anybody's interested. If anybody wants to finish second last is going to be the worst you will finish, because I am the king of setting up my team and remembering I set one up in March. I'm just the king of it. And it can go one of two ways. The year I had Sterling and Vardy up front and they scored all around them and I was top of the league. And then I started tinkering with it and I dropped like a stone. And or I'll be rooted to the bottom. I'll do a Sheffield United on it, one or the other. So if you want to finish at worst second last in a fantasy football league, that's the one for you to join. It'll boost your confidence, I suppose, more than anything else. Paddy set it up, and Paddy's going to be running it, because if I can't even look after my own team, I certainly won't be able to look after anything else. I don't even know what needs to be done. But
so you have until Friday to get in for the first round of games. So you've been warned. We'll share it out on the link out on YouTube or Twitter as well, so people can see it.
And I selected Jack Grealish in my team just to be the pantomime villain as well.
Why does that not surprise you? Now you owe another $5 for mentioning him as well.
Yeah, I think I'm up to about 40 quid already now with the charity for mentioning his name. The guys drop a bit of crack, We'll see if we can get some prizes at the end or whatever. Won't promise anything, because this is like, it's just a bit of crack. See what can be done.
We'll get a prize. Don't worry about that. There will be a prize.
We get a prize. Well, Paddy, you're in charge of the fantasy football league, as I say. It's so all complaints to Paddy Ireland. Just write that should get to you, won't it? A strongly worded letter to Paddy Ireland.
I'm the only Paddy in Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a common name at all, especially not Paddy Kelly. There's very few in everyone best. Do we miss anything else, Paddy?
Don't think so.
I don't think so either. There's a remarkably positive. I suppose I want to finish with this. There's a remarkably positive feeling around the club. We did kind of miss something, I think, really in the greater scheme of things. That, like, the club doesn't seem like it's the club doesn't feel like it's taken a massive step back over the last 4 or 5 days, and I think a lot of that is due to the way the club handled it was very good. Christian Perslow's speech, I thought, was
excellent. Yeah,
I thought it was excellent, and for somebody who has made mistakes in the football world before, he's pretty much knocked out of the park for Aston Villa in a lot of instances, I think. And you know why I think he is? Because I think he's brought just basic communication skills to the club. Like, gone are the days of fucking Twitter emojis to announce signings. It was a bit of crack, but at the end of the day, when you think back on it, wasn't it terribly unprofessional? Gone are the days of General Kruliak on Villa Talk. Once again, terribly unprofessional. And I know you want to get to know fans and you want to talk to them. Gone are the days of Keith Wyness. Like, 2 seconds out the door and here airing his dirty laundry. So I'm thinking that like there's an air of, we're running a business here. We're running a spectacularly profitable business. Well, what could be a spectacularly profitable business over time. And we got to start acting like we're big boys with a couple of 100 million turnover at the end of the year. And I like that. And I like this transparency. And long may that continue.
The one abiding memory I'll have of the last few days, I was bitterly disappointed. And I can't tell you the emotions I had over what happened. And in the manner it happened, and so close to the start of the season, it's really got me. It's really, really annoyed me. And then somebody said to me on Friday, sure, remember what it was like in the summer that Tony Jaa had no money and we were heading for the shit.
Yeah.
And Spurs wanted to give us 5 million plus Josh Onema for Jack Grealish. And how close that probably was to happening, because we were so badly stuck to pay our tax bill. And here we are now getting 100 million for Jack Grealish and building a team that should be more than capable. I'm not overly confident they're going to push on much further than we were last season, but I do envisage we will finish a little bit higher, but Europe might be a little bit out of our reach. I hope I'm wrong, I'm still feeling a little bit negative. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we do see a little bit of growth, but I just think the last couple of weeks has thrown me a little bit, as I said previously, with matches being cancelled, with players arriving late, with Jack arriving or leaving 10 days before the start of the season. All of these things are not good to happen. Now, if all is to be believed, they knew he was going long before then, so they were planning for. I always felt that these players were brought in to complement them, so we'll never know the truth about that. Probably never. No, I don't think we will. But it's been an interesting window. We've brought in some really good players. There is reason to be positive, but there's a big gaping hole there now that needs to be filled, and we probably just a couple of players shy of filling that. So that's why I'm a little bit downbeat. But look, we're less than a week away from the game now. The season ticket came in the post. I'm looking at flights today, trying to see what way I'm going to get over for this Brentford game. Still watching the numbers in the UK, which are still pretty high for COVID, so got to be a little bit careful. Seeing as I started a new job today, it wouldn't be a good look to be COVID positive. Well, on the plus side, the new job will pay for my trips to Villa Park, so happy days.
Excellent. Just on that, Paddy, you mentioned about replacing a big gaping hole. That is the premise of the chat that I had, I suppose, with Josh Williams today. Will be out tomorrow morning. It'll be just an audio only podcast, unfortunately, guys. Audio only podcast. So if you aren't already following on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, it's actually a really, really good listen. Really like listening to him. I personally love the Scouse accent. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but he's really interesting guy, really interesting young man, and just got the feeling that he just lives for football. So that will be out tomorrow morning for you guys to listen to on your walks, because I know a lot of you guys like to listen on your commutes or your walks, which is great to hear. Just one or two more little pieces. There was one or two more little chats that came in here. Ed, this is an interesting one. Do we need to have any worries about Danny Ings' apparent bad attitude since return to preseason at Southampton? I'm thinking we should be okay, but always a worry when you hear that kind of thing. Glenn actually addressed that slightly on the podcast, that he had been talking about leaving. There was a contract offer on the table, 1 year left, and basically said, listen, I want to leave this season. I want to be sold. So he didn't want to leave in a free transfer, is what I read into the whole situation. He probably thought he was going to go to Spurs, but he seems to be absolutely delighted he's with Aston Villa, and you can see it. Even what he said afterwards, that he had to keep the secret for like 3 or 4 days, and he was delighted to do so, to come to play with Aston Villa. But look, he's the local Southampton guy as well, so there are a small few parallels between Jack Grealish being a local kid, local Birmingham kid, and moving on to Man City. And maybe we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Southampton, and the recruitment this season has only been so. I know they brought in that Chelsea kid on loan today, that Borja, Albanian striker, big Albanian striker. I think he was on loan with Vitesse Arnhem last season. They brought him in on loan to replace Danny Ings, but I think they're going to need to get another striker up there as well with him, or invest, because that's one thing, Paddy, as well, that I don't think any other team has made, like bar ourselves and maybe Manchester United. I don't think any other team has gotten massively significantly better from last season, and that's what gives me hope. I think depth wise, and we have definitely gotten better. Yes, we've lost Jack Grealish, but we're in a new era. It's a new team, and if we it is all consequent fitting the ground running, but I'm confident that the management team have something up their sleeve. I really am. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it. We were going to we weren't even going to do a live today. We were just going to pop on and do an other podcast, but I'm glad we did. There's been some fantastic comments in there. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. Thank you so much to everybody for listening. As I say, if you aren't already, subscribe to our audio podcast on Apple Podcast or on Spreaker or Acast or Podcast Addict or wherever you watch it. As I say, there will be a nice one coming out tomorrow. It's a nice chat. There's a bit of Liverpool talk into it, but it's all relevant stuff. It's a small bit of a different conversation than we would usually have, but I found it thoroughly enjoyable today. So I would really appreciate it if you could listen to it and let me know what you think.
Thanks for all the comments and helping me get through my hours therapy here of getting over my disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tough one, but as you say, new era. Let's get behind them now and enjoy this season because that's all we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't no point crying over spilt milk, as they say. Onwards and upwards. We'll look.
The name on the front is more important than the name on the back of the shirt, and Aston Villa will always be here. Players won't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kazoo is more important than the name on the back, lads. Crest in the front is more important than the name on the back, Paddy. But anyway, guys, thanks so much, as I say, for everything you do for the podcast. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for all the lovely, kind words about Fabrizio Romano interview. It was an absolute honor for me to interview somebody like that. It's something I hope to do again in the future because he's a thoroughly nice guy. But thanks so much to all of you guys for all the love you give. And if you haven't watched that podcast, he gives some real good insight into what other clubs think of Aston Villa and what other clubs think of how we're now progressing with deals and so on. So I'd advise you to pop back and give that a watch as well if you haven't done so already. With that, we're going to leave you all go to bed. It's nearly 10:30 here in Ireland. I don't know what it is wherever it is in the rest of the world that you're watching. So, but thanks ever so much, guys. We've got a pretty packed plate over the next couple of days. I think we have a podcast coming out each day up until the start of the season. Plan to have, as I said, our podcast with Josh Williams tomorrow. Then we will have a preview podcast up either Wednesday or Thursday. And then I'm hoping to sit down with Villa Analytics as well, if possible, if time allows us, then some night this week as well, and have a quick chat. And then we'll be back with live football. There'll be live football next Saturday, and we'll all be getting given out to by our significant others about sitting down watching too much soccer again. And we wouldn't have it any other way. So thanks very much, guys. Going to leave it at that. Paddy, thank you so much. Yeah, that's it, really. All that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.